Hey JAG students, thank you for having me. My name is Fred Payne and I have the privilege of serving as the Commissioner of the Indiana Department of Workforce Development. Thanks for inviting me to spend a few minutes with you today to talk about a subject that's really important: diversity in the workplace, in our community, and in our state. This is an exciting time in that more conversations are taking place around the topic of diversity. But more importantly, we're seeing a lot of action and change take place right now. So what does diversity in the workplace look like, and why is it important? Think about the workplace, or a community, or the world even, as a big table. Diversity is making sure that all kinds of people have the opportunity to be, and in fact are, at that table. It's about opening up, broadening the circle or table, and having different people with different backgrounds, experiences, viewpoints, and talents. People who think differently, look different, are different, working together for a common cause. And once you put people with different views and experiences around the table, something incredible happens. People start to feel valued, included, like their contributions really matter, and that they belong. And that's when people build bridges and build trust, when they feel included, heard, and involved. When people trust and are working together on a common cause, the collective impact and outcomes are even better. So in the workplace, this might look like greater innovation, creativity, and solutions, increased morale and productivity, reduced employee turnover. People stay at a company longer when they can bring their real selves to work. Increased revenue, make more money for the company, and hopefully that trickles down to employees and their prosperity. Better decision making. Diversity in the workplace should be woven throughout all aspects of a company, from recruitment and hiring to the way an organization markets itself and its products or services. It's important that people be able to see themselves or people like them in the workplace. So now I'd like to introduce you to Jimmy McMillan. Jimmy is Senior Corporate Counsel and Chief Diversity Officer for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
It's a great pleasure to talk to you today. I am actually from Chicago, but I'm now a proud Hoosier. I am currently at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where I serve as both Senior Corporate Counsel and Chief Diversity Officer of both the Speedway, the NTT IndyCar Series, and IMS Productions, under the umbrella of a company called Penske Entertainment. So I have the great pleasure of working at the greatest racetrack in the world, where we hold the largest single-day sporting event in the world. My background may be a little bit similar to some of you. I grew up in a neighborhood in the south side of Chicago that had some challenges. I grew up in the 80s, where there was gangs, there was drugs. As a matter of fact, when I was 15 years old, my friend and I were in a drive-by shooting, and he was shot and killed. And it was at that time that my mother came to me and said that you can graduate early. And I actually graduated from high school when I was 16 and went to college. Part of my motivation for graduating was that I had a father who was really, really abusive to both my mother and myself. What I found throughout that process was trying to figure out my own purpose, my own goal, my own scope of what do I want to do was really hard when I was really thinking about how do I stay alive. I eventually went to college, where my father came to the dorm and tried to shoot me in the dorm. And then 3 months after enrolling into Indiana University, my father shot my mother 3 times, and I flunked out of school and became a college dropout. I worked at Best Buys. I worked at Firestone Service Center. I changed tires and changed oil and worked my way up to be an assistant manager. But all the time I knew that I wanted to finish college. And so I took independent study classes and got straight A's and B's in those classes, and then was blessed enough to apply to law school and did really good on the LSAT and applied to 9 law schools and got accepted to 7, and that led to the career that I have right now. We're all different. We're different in a number of ways. We're different in where we come from. We're different in how we talk, how we perceive things. The world is round and it's not flat. And with those differences, we all bring a little flavor to the Kool-Aid, right? We all bring something different that's important and vital that keeps us here. Not one of us has all of the answers that we need to be successful in this world. We need different people with different perspectives. So there's always this element of bringing more people to the table perhaps helps give you a more well-rounded perspective, helps give you different ideas, helps get you to different conclusions, helps maybe get you answers that if you have 5 people who are the same and they all live the same life and they all had the same viewpoint, they're all going to come up with the same answer. But when you bring in another 5 people who are all from different perspectives, sometimes their perspectives will help you see the answer that you couldn't see if you just stuck with the 5 who all were the same. Second, it's important to be diverse because the reality is we need to give everyone an opportunity. It's important to give everyone a chance. It's important to give everyone a shot. It's important that we share resources with everyone equally. It's what we love about America is that people can come here and have the opportunity to be successful and succeed no matter their background and their experience. If they work hard and they're doing the right things, it's an American concept that you will have a chance to have a piece of the American pie. So it's what we are culturally and what we believe in. Ultimately, though, it's also economically in our best interest to be diverse. Make no mistake, you want to sell your product to everybody, not just certain people. If you have a message, you want that message to be heard by as broad of an audience as possible. If you want people engaged, you want a broad group engaged. You want participation. And so we want people to typically want people to be brought to the table so that they can be both physically, spiritually, and economically engaged with you so you can receive the benefits of that. Diversity does have an economic benefit. The broader your audience, typically the broader your customer base is. And so we definitely always have that in the back of our mind is our product, is our opportunity, is our messaging, are our workforce opportunities. When you need somebody to do a job, if you need somebody to save your life and you're dying, do you care if they're black or white or brown or Asian? No, ultimately you care that they have the ability and skill to save your life. Now, if we only focus or target on a certain group of people and it's not enough of those people, we start looking around and wondering, well, I don't care what they look like. We just need more people to do X or Y. And that's why diversity is important, and that's why we continue to focus on it here as part of our Race for Equality and Change. But I think that's why you hear it talked about right now throughout the country.
So thank you, Jimmy, for your time, and thank you for sharing your story with our JAG students. Next, I want to talk a bit about empathy, because it goes hand in hand with diversity. While both words are nouns, it is entirely possible for a workplace to have diversity but no empathy, and vice versa. If diversity is describing the makeup of something, there's no real action behind it, which is why empathy, a value-driven behavior of getting to understand the inner workings of the other, is such an important partner to diversity. By listening and learning, we start to become more inclusive, which is extremely important in a workplace setting with people of diverse backgrounds and experiences. We like to think of empathy as a muscle. We all have one, and its strength is determined by how much you use it. So like any muscle, if you don't use it, it will atrophy, shrink, and shrivel up. But with regular use, exercise, and fuel, it grows and becomes strong and may be admired and emulated by others. Now, if we're talking about muscles, strong muscles, I've got just the guy to say a few words. Diversity is important in his workplace and is key to his organization's success. Let me turn it over to Chris Ballard, the General Manager of the Indianapolis Colts. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, JAG kids and Commissioner Payne. I think one of the real special things about the game of football, not just in the NFL, but at every level, like it's a real microcosm of the diversity of our country. From people coming from different backgrounds, they come to and different race, religion, whatever you can think of, and they have to come together for one common goal. And that's what makes this sport really, really, really special. And I think it's imperative, to have a diverse, not only locker room, but organization, so you can get all kinds of unique aspects. It's one of the really special things about a football locker room, because it doesn't matter what color you are. Doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter what race you are, what your sexual orientation is. None of that matters. What matters is what kind of teammate you are, how you perform within the team concept for one common goal. And that's what makes it really special. And if we could just mimic as a country what happens inside of an NFL or high school or college football locker room, the world would be a better place. Unequivocally, the world would be a better place. Because you learn to put any differences you have aside and respect everybody else's viewpoints on life. And when you're able to do that and work together to communicate, to really trust, to really care, to really have empathy for the other person, it's a really cool and special thing. And that's one of the things I really love about being in this game of football for as long as I've been, because it doesn't matter. What matters is all the things I've talked about and coming together and all to accomplish one goal. This game is the ultimate meritocracy. I mean, it really is. It's based on your talent, and it's strictly based on your talent and your skill. And that's what makes it beautiful. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, or what you do. It's based on your talent and your skill. And I think it goes like beyond the locker room. I mean, it's no different than, in our scouting department, where I think when you get a different viewpoint, we all look alike. You don't get a unique viewpoint of really what the world is and really what our country is. I mean, our country is a beautiful place with beautiful people that come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. And they all have a really unique perspective on how things can be done and done in a different way. And I think when you get a real cross section of people, you can get better ideas, stronger ideas about really how this country operates. I think that's one of the real problems we have today, and you're seeing it, is that when you go to hire somebody, a lot of times your biases, and I've been thinking a lot about just bias in general with decision making, and we all have bias. But it's being able to recognize those biases and then overcome them and really have an objective mind with decision making, with any kind of decision making process that you have. So you want a group of individuals that think a little differently, that had different life experiences, that seen the world from a different viewpoint. We all see the world differently. We all see the world through a different lens. That's the one thing I think, as I've gotten older and gained more wisdom, that I've really come to appreciate. And I have a lot of empathy for others, that their opinions, we want to cancel people out in today's world just because they have a different opinion, instead of sitting back and respecting their viewpoint and listening. Just listen. Sometimes when you listen, your eyes and your heart will open up to that different viewpoint.
Thanks, Chris, for sharing this with us today. And it's great to get a glimpse into the organization and your views on diversity and success in your workplace. JAG students, as you continue to work on your leadership skills and your pathway and getting ahead, becoming an advocate for diversity and inclusion can really help set you apart. I want you to think about two things. Think about your table. Who's around your table? Who is missing? What can you do to continually broaden, open up, and add diversity to your table? Think about your empathy muscle. How strong is it? What can you do to constantly exercise and fuel your empathy muscle so that it is as strong as it can be? JAG students, thanks for including me today. If you want to continue this conversation or have questions about diversity and empathy in the workplace, reach out at any time. Thanks.